Hello, my name is Miki Inui from Japan, and my presentation is titled Out of School Children and Regional Disparity in Lao PDR, Focus on the Education Access and Quality. In this presentation, out of school children and youth are pronounced as USKI based on the recommendation by UNESCO. There are two objectives in the presentation. First objective is to examine the current state of USKI and its cause in Lao PDR. The second objective is to investigate to what extent the 7 principles of ASEAN Declaration have been fulfilled, especially education access and quality. And I conducted field research in disadvantaged areas. Regarding the conceptual approach, the 7 principles proposed by UNESCO is adopted. These principles are inclusivity, equity, and accessibility, continuity, and quality, flexibility, and sustainability. And these 7 principles were organized into 4 categories. And in this presentation, I focus on access and quality out of 7 principles because they are considered to be major cause of USKI in Lao PDR. In general, as we can imagine well, children from poor families tend to drop out due to the economic difficulties. It especially happens in rural areas where income generation activities are limited. For other reasons than poverty, previous research pointed out minorities' no interest in education or their culture, such as child marriage and child labor, are cause of USKI. In this way, so far, a countrywide perspective is major, but I thought we need to focus on regional disparity because a significant difference were observed in my previous research. In order to observe the regional disparity, I chose these 4 areas in the map in North and Central and South and gave interviews to the education staff in provincial district level, as well as teachers and villagers. The major questions are current state of USKI, local aspect of USKI, and internal and external assistance for USKIs. Let me proceed to the finding. Regarding the first objective, which is the status of USKI, a huge disparity found in countrywide. For example, in North area and South area, the USKI rate is high compared to the central area, such as Vientiane, which is a capital. So we could say there are significant disparity within the country. In addition to the fact regarding the access to education, a hidden group was found. Previous research mentioned that most disadvantaged groups are girls, ethnic minority, and children from rural and poor families. However, as a result of qualitative research, a hidden group, which is disabled children, was considered to have least access to school. An interview with Ministry of Education shows that the total number of disabled children is unknown. However, most of them in remote areas have extremely limited access to education because only 2 special education schools are available for disabled children in entire country. Let's proceed to the second objective. As shown in the table, the rate of USKI is high in the north area and the south region too, compared to Vientiane capital. The result of the interview in the north region indicated remote area has low access and children with disability do not have access to school. Regarding a continuity, the survival rate is high in the capital but low in the rural area. Especially I found the dropout rate is high in the south. Here. In the bottom of the table. The interview result showed in the south region close to the Thailand border, children choose to work in Thailand rather than continuing education in Laos because the income which they obtain in Thailand is 3 times higher than Laos. The data regarding dropout obtained from Provincial Education Office in Namdara shows the negative aspect of rural areas. As you see, the number of dropout students have decreased in the primary level, which shows in the red, but the number of them exceeded 1,000 in lower secondary level. As regards the reason, the provincial officer indicated that students cannot continue their education because poverty and the lack of schools and dormitories. Quality of education also present disparity. This data shows the percentage of independent learners. Of independent learners. Which means students who performed above the second benchmark. As you see, at least percentage in Namdara, which is 4.59. However, in Vientiane, the percentage of independent learner is more than 10 times than Namdara. Difference of quality is observed in the learning subject too. For example, in the urban area, they teach 35 hours a week, and they focus on major subject, which is Lao, math, and writing. However, in the rural area, they only teach 35 hours per week and less major subject and conduct multiple grade class. And number of teachers also different. In the rural area, the school, in the rural school, they have more volunteer teachers who are not trained and motivated. So we could say rural area shows the most disadvantage in terms of quality. So far, by examining access, continuity, and quality, none of the categories have yet been achieved. However, flexibility, which guarantees different pathway of learning style or marginalized or disadvantaged groups, seems to have been successfully fulfilled in Lao PDR. The reason is regional cooperation in ASEAN level and international project by international NGOs and UNs and from aid agencies, as well as small-sized projects have enabled children continue their education. I found that they utilize the education budget from non-formal and vocational education because the budget of general education is very much limited. Concluding my presentation, as it was observed and discussed in the presentation, catering for invisible students such as disabled children in remote area or migrant children in Laotai border area will be a requirement. In addition, understanding regional disparity from both qualitative and quantitative point of view will be needed, as the research results have proved. As shown in the result, seeking a budget in available sector in accordance with regional and local needs is effective strategy to eliminate USKI. Moreover, training local staff to build their technical skills, raising awareness of education at a local level will also be required because local understanding of education is low and response to local staff is too slow, especially in remote area. That's how we can eliminate and educate USKI to lead to the economic gain. Okay, these are differences, and thank you very much for listening to my presentation.